Hello, and welcome back to the Spoiler Cast, and welcome to this episode. I don't know what I was trying to say. The show we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them was what I was trying to say. My name is Tobias, and with me as always is my sister and trusty co-host Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello, and today we are finally talking about the movie we've been waiting for forever. I suppose it's the end of an era, the final mission. It's Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Whoa, yeah, woo. Yes. It's the sequel to 2023's prequel, Dead Reckoning.
Yes.
And the 8th, possibly final,
hopefully
Mission
final,
Impossible
since,
movie.
it's called Final, so...
Yeah, and this, you can't really go bigger than this, even though they had this, the same threat has been in several movies, but this one felt bigger, more final, felt very,
Yes.
I don't know how to say it. This digger.
The destitute? No, that's
not that destitute. Either way, yeah. It's also, I think it's the longest movie in the franchise.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But, of course, written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie, also written by Eric Jenderson. Starring, of course, Tom Cruise and a bunch of other people nobody cares about.
Well. Honestly, it's a bunch of reoccurring people, so...
Bunch of recurring people, but who actually cares? Who actually cares? At this point, does anyone care about any other character than Ethan Hunt? Are we not just here to watch him do death-defying stunts?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. Anyway, it's to the point
and
where
we do.
Yeah. There's not even a like little, the little premise blurb on IMDb doesn't even say anything. Here just says, we're supposed to say, like, the team has to stop a madman from bombing, blah, blah, blah. No, it just says, our lives are the sum of our choices. Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. That's the plot of the movie, because that's really what the plot is here. It's Tom Cruise, who is Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible. That's the plot.
We do have a better one on Letterboxd.
Yes, and if I scroll down to the other little blurb, there's going to be a proper one, but I've never seen it just be like a tagline.
No, me neither.
What does it say on Letterboxd?
Someone didn't do their job.
Yeah, what does it say on Letterboxd?
Ethan Hunt and the IMF team continue their search for the terrifying AI known as the Entity, which has infiltrated intelligence networks all over the globe. With the world's governments and a mysterious ghost from Ethan's past on their trail, joined by new allies and armed with the means to shut the Entity down for good, Hunt is in a race against time to prevent the world as we know it from changing forever.
So it's the same plot as in...
the last 3 or 4 movies.
Yeah, more or less. Because it's basically the same in Ghost Protocol. You have a madman who wants to basically restart civilization.
Yep.
Michael Nyqvist.
Yeah, he wants to not nuke the world, which is he is my favorite villain of all time, if I'm being honest. Maybe.
And then in Rogue Nation, it's like a terror organization who wants to control something. I don't even remember what the plot in that one. I just know that that's probably my favorite.
I watched them all over the last few days, and I still don't remember what the actual threat is, except for some bad guy wants control over something that is very bad.
Yeah. And then Fallout, of course, is the one where oh my god, this is nuclear threat against the entire planet. Oh, you mean like in the last one also? Okay, and whatever. Yeah, Fallout, goddamn. Well, we're not going to talk too much about the other movies. We'll save that for Patreon and members exclusive episode.
Yes.
Where we're going to talk about the other movies and rank all of them. So if you want to see that, check us out on patreon.com/NoMegaScene, or if you want to watch it here on YouTube, become a member. There's a button by the subscribe button. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Subscribed. Anyway.
Like and subscribe and all that wonderful shit.
Let's get into it. We've been dancing around it. What did you think of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
I thought it was one of the slowest movies I've ever watched, despite being so intense and high action.
Yeah.
But it's just slow in the fact that, like, nothing really happens until there's, like, a critical moment, and that critical moment takes up way too long.
Yeah.
Like, it goes on for so long each time, and there's, like, 4 of them in this movie. So the movie's, like, 4 critical moments, and that's it.
Yeah.
Which makes it slow, in my opinion, because they never really do anything.
No, obviously a lot of things is going on, but we see it from just people sitting around saying lofty dialogue about fate and the world and the entity and politics, and
then there's
Ethan
an action
Hunt
scene.
is our only chance of making it, and every moment counts, and nothing is written, and blah 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 blah.
And then there's action scenes.
There are some
sometimes go on a little bit too long.
Well, we'll get to that. Yeah. Sure.
In my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
And on top of that, just, movie magic at its finest.
Yeah, there is so much painting themselves into a corner and then like, but we'll fix it. It's fine. There's a lot of, which is, it's a recurring theme in these movies that really, since starting with Fallout, has been really like pushed to the fucking limits of how much you can like
actually do.
how much you can suspend your disbelief. Like, wait a minute, wait.
Yes. And look, I know he's done a lot of stunts himself in past movies, at least. I haven't looked up this one specifically.
Yeah, because I wasn't really interested in... spoilers, I did not like Fallout at all, so therefore I wasn't really interested in the last one. We did talk about it, though, I think. Like,
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, but I did see all the behind the scenes of the stunts in that one. I haven't really seen any behind the scenes things for the stunts here. I mean, I've seen a little bit like done like promos when they're on the biplane from the end and he jumps off and stuff.
That one is apparently one of his own stunts.
Oh yeah. That is one of, I think, like 2 really big set pieces in this one.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about.
There's not a lot on the trivia page yet either.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how much of the submarine scene that is real. Obviously, a lot of it is real. You can tell.
Sure.
But I haven't seen any behind the scenes stuff for that.
No.
Either way.
He was in water, of course.
Yes, and they seem to be a physical set, like a huge physical set on a.
So he can roll around.
They can roll around, yeah, kind of like in Inception.
But like that's it. That's the movie. It's
yeah, like
it's
there are
3 hours of like really,
yeah,
really. Is that all? Is that how you're gonna solve this? Really? And like, time's up, dude.
Yeah,
basically 3 hours of that and exposition dumps in the beginning. Many exposition dumps.
So much exposition
and repetition even.
Repeating what's going on, which is kind of good though, because I'll say that I had no idea what was going on in Dead Reckoning.
Sure.
It kind of starts like the entity thing has already been going on for a while when that movie starts.
Yeah,
and you're just kind of thrown into it.
Because they didn't really realize until, oh shit.
Yeah. And so here they really wanted to like take a minute and explain it for anyone who didn't really get it. So I was
sure.
I was grateful for that, but also it's like terrible.
They literally did it like twice.
Yeah.
Told you the same thing twice in the same movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, we get it.
And the constant,
I did kind of like how they switched between someone was telling and then another one was saying the same thing in another place. Was a little bit inventive, but then they did it like 3 times. You're like, yeah, we get it.
And they did it with a fight scene even.
Yeah. Yes, we understand.
The naked fight and the
cabin fight, I guess.
Fight were even cut to the point where it almost looked like they were, cut together so like, oh, Ethan is hitting. No, wait, it's over there. Oh, shit. It's like the camera moves are the same and people are being thrown in the same way. Clever.
Yeah. Sure.
But, at some point, you just like, move on.
Yeah. But that's about it. I'm slightly not disappointed, but like I don't know. I think I
seemed
wanted
disappointed.
something. I was annoyed mainly.
Okay.
I didn't have any expectations, if I'm being honest.
Okay. All right. Sure.
I literally zero expectations other than I know they're gonna save the world. I was kind of hoping maybe they fail, like switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Or
Once again,
some.
They do bait you with that in the trailer. You see London being exploded by a nuke, which spoilers for the first 10 minutes of the movie. That is like a vision that the entity gives Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
And he shows him like, this will happen if you don't do what I say. But it will also happen if you don't do what I say. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever. So overall, I didn't really have any expectations, but sitting there for 3 hours, I got a little bit disappointed as it kept going, I guess, because, just never really, I don't know, it never really got there, I guess.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. Well, what would you say? What do you think of it?
You're
trying to condense it better than I did.
I'll say this. It was one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen, and I haven't laughed this much since, well, because I did laugh a lot last week when we watched Bloodlines, but I think I laughed even more during this. It is such a ridiculous movie.
Yes.
Like, not just the plot, which is, like, this is not even, like, the last one was, like, borderline sci-fi, which these movies have always been somewhat, grounded. It's, yeah, he does.
No, it's
you do things you can't really do in real life, but it's always, people, terrorists. It's real.
Yeah,
it's
grounded.
It's
threats you've heard about, sort of.
Yeah.
Like nuclear war is a thing. You know?
Here, in Dead Reckoning, it was like there's an AI and there's a guy who is like the AI's lackey, and the AI wants to destroy the world for some reason. Yeah. And it knows everything, and therefore the bad guy knows everything before everyone else.
And he's walking around like a prophet, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, and he can disappear from security cameras, and he can do basically anything. Because which is in a way interesting, because it really shows how we're super connected. We are more secure than ever. But we're still not secure. Because now we have another, Achilles heel. If we lose that technology, we're fucked. Which is a thing in a lot of movies.
If everyone's connected, if you like tap into one, you tap into everyone, kind of thing.
Yeah, but it became like borderline science fiction with that one. That you had this insane level of AI. Like, yes, AIs exist. Like, no one knows, but everyone knows. It's like a known unknown that there are artificial intelligences that go way beyond like OpenAI or whatever that we do not have access to. Like, only certain governmental bodies does.
Sure,
but
of course.
this the entity in this one is on it's a science fiction thing. The movie became Star Wars basically.
They do say that it created its own consciousness somehow.
Yeah, somehow. I mean, that's what we call the transcendence or the unification or whatever. However, in Dead Reckoning, it is full on that this is a fantasy now. It's science fiction. It's Star Wars, King Arthur. It's fantasy. Nothing.
It's
nothing
beyond
is real
just spy stuff, like exaggerated spy gadgets. It's it's sci-fi.
Yeah, it's complete sci-fi, and to the point where I was annoyed in the beginning because I didn't like Dead Reckoning, so I wasn't really going into this liking it. Even though I gotta say the trailers did win me over, especially with all the stunt stuff.
They showed the coolest parts.
Yeah, and I thought this could be fun, But like the first hour is so fucking the first hour is so fucking boring because it's so did you look up this Digit?
Oh yeah, it's I have it fateful, ominous.
Does it faded? Yeah. It's very
capital baneful.
it's not really what I'm looking for then. It's very, everything is so like, oh my god, this is the end times.
Yeah.
We have one shot and only Jesus, Ethan Hunt can save us, Yeah, we'll talk more about that. There's a lot of that, like the very fate of millions of lives rests upon the shoulders of one man, and no one else can do it but you. You have 1 second to save the world, and it takes you 10 minutes to get to that second, and if you don't do it, I will blow up every country in the world, and what's your plans? But I have a plan, but I don't, and it's just so like it's very new Star Trek. It's very destiny, the stars. Yes. Oh, fate, my brother, and I always believed in you. I knew we were the masters of our own fate, even though we weren't. Everything is shut up! You're supposed to save the world from terrorists. Stop being some fucking wishy-washy fucking... It sounds like a fucking girl movie. Like, oh my god, the stars. It's not the same thing, but it kind of made me think of Twilight. Not that it's like a romance. Do you know what I mean? The silly fucking dialogue and everything. So oh my god, and we're all friends.
It's very poetic.
And blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
it's very trying to make it poetic when it's not.
Very faux poetic.
Very frilly.
Yeah, they keep saying the same thing over and over again, which is basically, we are the masters of our fate. Destiny is not a thing.
Fate.
Nothing is written. Blah, blah, blah. No, Twilight is wrong. It's very Star Trek sequel trilogy, especially.
Thank you.
Especially The Last Jedi. It's a bunch of pseudo.
I thought you said Star Trek.
First Star Trek, but a lot of the later
Fate
Picard
stuff is.
It's always that, I was looking into the stars, but I was really looking into my own soul, and
I don't know. I heard Star Trek and Jedis in the same sentence. And I was
but
wait,
then
hold on, that doesn't make sense.
Star Wars is a better comparison. To all the fate bobbly boobly bullshit in Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
It gets very almost religious when it doesn't really have to be.
Yeah, at a certain point, they're so close to turning Ethan Hunt into Jesus. He's literally Jesus towards the end.
I'm sorry, but in this one he is Jesus.
He's Jesus, yeah.
Someone literally says that they believe in him to technically rule the world.
Yeah. If anyone can hold ultimate power over the world, no one should have that power, but you should. We believe in you, Jesus. I mean Ethan Hunt. Yeah, that's it. It's so ridiculous. But at a certain point, around when the action kind of starts, even though never really, there are a little bit of action here and there, like the fight in the underground thing where they beat up the guards. And then, running away from the bomb in the beginning. I'm not spoiling anything here. Guess what? He runs away from a bomb. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
He never runs away from an explosion before.
But then there's just talking until there's, the scene where he jumps out of the helicopter into the water.
Yeah.
And it's 45 minutes
and
of
after
just
that
talking.
one, it's basically just constant new action scene with just a little bit talking in between.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It still slows down in between.
Yep.
But I will say that the pacing got better around that time when he gets to the aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it picks up.
Like they say in the trailer, that you gave him an aircraft hangar thingy.
Yeah, aircraft carrier. Yeah. And that's also kind of where the mission begins.
Yes.
Which is an hour into the movie. It's oh my god.
Yeah.
I get that, but that's also they constantly hammer home how fucking important this is, and that's what drags out the movie so much.
We get it. You've said it now. We've heard it.
You could easily have cut 20-30 minutes out of this movie.
Yes.
It could have been just over 2 hours.
There's so many moments where everything just takes too long in this movie.
Yeah.
Like small things even. They're just basically in a conversation, even though it's like urgent, everything they're doing is urgent, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, they only have 3 days.
Yeah.
But they take the time to like sit down and do this and blah blah blah. But that's because
when the clock is ticking on a bomb, they even take time to stand around and
look wistfully at each other like.
Yeah, they're not even talking.
Yeah,
they're like in between talking. They just stop and stare at each other.
And you're like the bomb is ticking, bro.
Dude,
can you come on?
Time's up. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I know you love them, but like, come on, move.
There's a lot of like Hollywood time in this movie.
Yes,
like 10 seconds is usually around 30 to a minute here. 30 seconds to a minute in this movie.
They had a timer at one point which was 19 minutes.
Yeah.
That shit took 40 minutes.
But that's because that is because a lot of it is taking place at the same time. So they got to show whatever. I'm not the
sure, but Jesus fucking Christ.
But what I will say, what I want to say is, around the time he enters the submarine, well, kind of when he gets to the aircraft carrier before that. After that, it becomes so ridiculous, and that's when we have all the big, cool set pieces and stunts that my brain just clicked off, and I was just like,
Yeah,
I was flabbergasted by everything. I
kept saying my brain hurt.
I didn't like it. It was so bloated, and it kept being that fucking. Wishy-washy, wistful dialogue about destiny, everything over and over and over again, and everyone just looking into each other's eyes, and we're all friends, even though I didn't know you 3 months ago in the span of these movies,
Yeah.
Fucking Haley Atwell's character Grace, I'll never understand why they switched out Rebecca Ferguson, Ilsa for her. So dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it probably contract dispute or something, whatever. There's no reason for it in movie.
No.
But I just decided to just fucking go with it, and I had the best time.
I didn't manage to do that. I couldn't shut my brain off, even though it hurt.
Yeah.
My brain hurt, physically hurt.
I was
from
laughing.
That shit.
I was laughing so much, like laughing in, but not that it's funny, because this is probably the least funny of the Mission Impossible. They always had some, comedy.
Sure.
No,
there was a little. There was a little bit in the beginning.
There's like 3 minutes out of 2.5 hours, so 2 hours and 40 minutes.
In the beginning, they had a few like, haha,
little
he
jokes.
did it again. He
Yeah.
did it again. He did it. It's like, you get it. Stop.
But yeah, I was just laughing at how ridiculous everything was.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that's it. I don't really have much. I mean, we can go into like. Okay, we've been
details
we've
about
been
shit.
going for 20 minutes. So we might as well. If there's anything you want to spoil, we're going to spoil it now.
Yeah, I want to talk spoilers because, this I will tell you this much: all the spoilers we're going to talk about is nitpicking.
Sure. Oh yeah.
It's nitpicking and like inability to dispense your disbelief or whatever the fuck it's called. Not believing in movie magic, all that shit.
Yeah.
That is the only issue with this movie. Like I said, my boss asked me to like give me a short review afterwards, and I told you I'm gonna tell her like, if you can believe in movie magic, you'll love this movie.
If you believe in magic, you'll love this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, because I mean, it's not a bad movie.
It's
just very
no.
It's just very like, you need to just accept that it is what it is.
It's ridiculous.
And watch it.
It's what it is.
It is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But yeah,
I have an issue. I cannot look past some movie magic, and that's what I'm going to complain about in this now.
So
spoilers.
Let me do the spoiler thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you don't want anything spoiled, but guess what? There's not much to spoil other than details. Like, guess what? He saves the world. Sorry for spoiling that. Did you think anything else was going to happen? Yeah, surprise. So if you want to hear us nitpick the shit out of this movie, I say don't turn it off. Listen to this.
Yes.
But there will be spoilers. So you have been warned.
Yes.
Spoilers from here on out. Now, when Ving Rhames dies...
Yay!
Hey, it works. He's the only person who dies in this movie, basically.
Which is my first issue with this movie.
Okay.
Someone else had to die.
Yeah.
Two people were up for it.
Yeah. And this is the last one. Why not kill off some people?
Why not kill off someone? Honestly, why the fuck not kill off Ethan Hunt?
Yeah. Ethan Hunt. Yeah. Ethan Cunt, yeah.
That would have been the best.
Yeah. It would have been...
That would have been the best outcome, really.
It would have been what No Time to Die wanted James Bond to be. Did you...
Yeah.
You know that...
I don't think...
Have you... The
Wait,
last...
that's the newest one. No, I haven't seen it
It's
yet.
like 6 years old at this point.
I know, but I haven't had time
No,
to really
it is...
sit down and...
It is... Is it okay if you don't care about
Yeah,
James
go
Bond.
for it.
They kill James Bond in that movie. Like, for real. Not just, like in You Only Live Twice,
So he
or
can
as in Skyfall.
go underground and disappear. No, he actually dies.
It ends with him dying. But it's also because they created this fucking awful arc throughout the Daniel Craig movies, where or they wanted to, but they weren't really sure what the arc was, so they kind of wobble around through all movies.
Yeah.
And then in this one, they introduce that he has a kid from like 6-7 years ago.
What? Is that from like before the movies then?
I fucking forget. I think it's
Or is it like from the first movie he was in?
No, it's from the lady in Spectre. I forget her name. The French actress.
Yeah.
I think that's his... Whatever. Doesn't matter. So all of a sudden, like...
His baby mama.
Yeah. So they make this whole thing about him being like... Finally, he's complete as a person. Because of the whole thing that he was very temperamental and emotional in the first movie.
Sure.
And then he becomes very cold-hearted after, Vesper dies in the first movie.
Yeah.
So that's kind of to go full circle to make him become a person again. But they didn't really play on that in the movies in between.
No.
And also, you can't kill James Bond. Because James, it always says, in every movie it says, James Bond will return, and they even have names sometimes for the next movie.
Yeah.
Now they can't. Now they're going to have to literally reboot the franchise. Which
wasn't there talk about
I know we're talking a lot about James Bond, I'm sorry, but I also want to vent about that, because that is probably the franchise that I have... It's not my favorite franchise, but it's the franchise I've followed the longest, like since I was like 6 years old. Because
that's the one we actually grew up with.
Yeah. And not just the newer movies.
Because they kept making movies.
Yeah, they kept making movies, and each time a new movie came out, they had like a James Bond marathon on TV. And our dad loved James Bond, so he used to record them on VHS tapes. So I'd seen all the old ones before I was like 10 years old.
James Bond was the first like action movie that could be like kind of scary for a kid to watch that I got to watch.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one, but one of them.
And it was always, they hinted at that's there was a continuation from each movie, like in A License to Kill, they do mention that he was married once, because he gets married in Your Majesty's Secret Service, but she dies immediately after the wedding and all that. So they mention it, even though it's not the same guy, but it is the same guy. But it's not. You don't have to know, No. But then with the Daniel Craig movies, they created this no, this is actually now a series of movies that all
these
connect.
are very connected.
Yeah. So in the first one, it's so it is a sort of prequel, but technically the other movies did happen, or they were going to happen in between, or we don't really know, but it's not important because it's James Bond. We don't really care about continuity. It's not really important. It's James Bond.
It's James Bond.
But then there became a continuity in between these 1, 2, 3, 5 movies. 5 movies.
Yeah.
That really and they wanted to make him more of a character, not just a guy who defeats the bad guy, which is what he was before.
Yeah. He was just a cool spy.
Yeah. And when you do that, and you finish that arc, there's not really anywhere else for the character to go other than killing him. Because Daniel Craig, he didn't even want to make the last 2 ones. He was done with the franchise. He hated it because there was so much work around it. So but because they gave him this super arc with him having a family and children and everything, you couldn't just like, oh, in the next movie it's another guy and he's like, oh, hey, Miss Moneypenny, wanna let me spank you or whatever, you know? Because then it's like, but what about your baby mama and your daughter? You're not gonna. So what
happened to them?
Yeah. So what you have to do is kill him off.
Yeah.
Which means that now the franchise is like, it's over. They can
Wasn't there talk about making a new James Bond with like a female James Bond or something?
No, that was.
It was just speculation, maybe?
That was a little bit of clickbait for... Yeah, for the last one. Where technically, because he doesn't have 00 status anymore, or they reinstate him. So the new 007 is a lady. That's the thing. But they were never going to replace James Bond and call it Jane Bond or whatever.
No.
But Amazon now owns some of the rights. And there have been leaks about their roadmap for the James Bond franchise, and they are gonna milk the shit out of it.
They could make, 006 or 008 or something. Yeah. Make it just another one.
They're gonna do TV shows. There was talk about like a Q or streaming shows, a Q series, like a separate MI, his MI6, his agency, MI6 series, some sort of like young agent thing, and they were of course going to do the movies, but there might also be a TV or streaming show with James Bond, and not all that because now, the original franchise starting with Dr. No it doesn't exist anymore. It ended with them killing James Bond. Sorry for that.
Circling back to Mission Impossible is what I think they should have done with this one to finish this.
Yeah,
because sure, you can have Mission Impossible Infinity if you want to, technically. But like you said, like how are they gonna like raise the stakes? Because each movie has had a bigger threat.
Yeah, but
in different ways.
I really don't think they can't top this.
No.
So if they're gonna have to reboot it. So why not?
Also, he is too old.
The guy is like over 60 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Great shape, but
sure.
Give it up.
Like, give someone else space to be an action star like this. Because I wouldn't mind. That's one thing I do like about Mission Impossible. All the movies. 'Cause we don't, like, how many, like, pure spy action movies like this have we had?
Not a lot.
Recently. There was the James Bond ones, which is more spy than action spy, in my opinion. They're action, of course.
The later ones are more action.
It's the, suit kind of thing. Fancy spies.
Yeah.
Compared to Mission Impossible, which is a bit
tactical
more gritty.
Yeah. And then for a while, we did have Fast and Furious spies, basically.
Yes, like, but I don't know if I count
6, 7, and 8, when they were like, we work for the agency, yo!
Yeah, I know.
Even in 9 and 10 as well, but yeah.
It is like these two. It's James Bond and it's Ethan Hunt.
Yeah. They tried to do it with The Amateur, but that's just a one-off. But that was a good spy movie, though.
Yeah, sure, but it's not the same.
No, it's not the same. No.
It's not this kind of
big,
like, I don't know,
tentpole blockbuster action spy movie. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, there's...
So make space for a new one by ending this one.
Yeah.
Because any idea you could have for Ethan Hunt, you could just put another name on it, make it a new agency, because fuck it, you could obviously put any name you want on an agency, because Mission Impossible Force is the dumbest name ever.
Impossible Mission Force.
Whatever. Impossible
IMF.
Mission Force. Yeah. Dumbest name ever. Call it the super duper spy force or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. This is generic. This is generic spy action.
Yeah.
You don't have...
And you can make that with anyone. You don't need to put Tom Cruise's name on it. Or face. Or body. Or stunts.
Yeah.
So I wish and I hope that they don't make another one. That this is the end. Hell, if they do want to make another Mission Impossible, make him like be the guy in the chair then or something. But that's just dumb.
That's just dumb. And also, but it's their refusal to kill off any characters, which I don't understand why that is. Why is Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie so unwilling to kill off these pointless characters? Like,
I don't know.
Like I like Simon Pegg, although he's became kind of
I hate his
insufferable.
character.
Insufferable for a while, a few years ago. Everyone was insufferable back then, but yeah.
Benji Dunn is not a good character.
Why? Yeah,
he's annoying.
He was funny as like the one-off like tech guy in the third movie where he's like in 2 scenes, and then he became part of the team sort of in the fourth one. It was kind of funny, but then with the Rogue Nation and Fallout, it's just like why is
because also it doesn't make sense since he has Luther, who is a tech guy already.
Yeah,
why do you need another like computer dude?
And also, no offense to Ving Rhames, but why keep bringing that character back? What is the point?
Because they kept painting him as like the best dude in the world when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, but everyone is the best at what they do in these movies.
So.
That's the thing. Everyone is the best. Like in Dead Reckoning and in this, Hayley Atwell plays Grace, she's the greatest pickpocket. She's the greatest thief ever, and she can also, with a little bit of help, still, she can like hack into the most secure servers in the Doomsday Bunker that no one can open. But first of all, Benji just knows how to do it.
Yeah, he knows what everything looks like.
Somehow.
Not even looking at it. He knows there's a bundle of wires in these colors in that corner.
Remember about 20 years ago when he was first in these movies, when he was just a tech guy. He fixed with the emails at the IMF.
He could help you track someone, maybe.
Yeah.
If he was at his computer.
Yeah. I guess that's why they keep... No, that doesn't even make sense. But it's the same thing how... to bring back Fast and Furious, when they became like agents or whatever, how all of a sudden like, Tej, he was the mechanic in Too Fast and Furious, which means that, 20 years later, in number 8,
a rocket
ship.
He
can like hack every computer. He can control God's eye. It's like, wait a minute, you owned a rinky-dink garage in Florida. When did you become a super like spy tech guy?
Tech nerd.
Yeah. But it is because it's what's needed,
Yeah.
And you don't want to bring in a bunch of new characters.
He was the most logical pick out of all the characters, I guess, because no one else had even looked at a computer or tech stuff. They just handed their cars in, and someone else did the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true, but
or like what's the guy's name? The guy who dies in Tokyo Drift and then comes back.
Han,
right? Han. How he was like, sure, his background, why he was a Korean guy in Tokyo was never really explained. So there was always like, he's done something.
He's a little bit
to have been
mysterious.
But he goes from a guy who like owns a garage. He doesn't even drive cars, but he owns a garage.
He just owns
he owns a garage. To being he can like get you into like the cool clubs in Tokyo because he's some sort of connection to the Yakuza.
Him.
Yakuza. To being after he dies and comes back, he's now, first of all, he's like a super assassin who's been protecting the little girl in the 9th or 10th movie or whatever it is. But he's also the guy who can literally, like, wherever you are in the world, he has a connection to get you like military tech that no one else has, like weapons and computers. He can just, I'll fix that for you. But wait a minute,
I know a guy.
You were just a guy in Tokyo, and you died. What the fuck?
Yeah,
it's that kind of. It's the same here. Like, when did they all become the best at everything?
Yeah, I mean, they do mention that Luther is like the best guy in the first movie, which is why they hire him.
Sure, but he's like a little like,
but even
he's a little hacker guy. He's not a guy who can like create a digital poison that can destroy the entity, the almighty AI that nobody can touch. But I know how to do that. How?
He built a custom, never existed before, ginormous in like digital space, but tiny in physical space.
A 5D memory. First of all,
which honestly just looks like a fucking resin cube.
Yeah, with a USB connector.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like a USB connector. It looks like it's just like pins or something.
But like, yeah.
How does he know how to make that? How does he know how to make the poison pill, as they call it? He doesn't even know
Yeah.
what the AI looks like.
Yeah.
You can't code something like that unless you know what the original code looks like, kind of, at least.
Exactly. Which is I'm not saying that is like, but that's kind of the plot in Mission Impossible 2. To create the antidote, you need the poison.
Yeah.
And that's the Chimera virus.
Exactly.
But he doesn't have the poison, so how can he create an antidote? Wait, what is going on?
How did he figure out
because
how to code that shit?
Oh, no, I know why. Because he's the best hacker. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the Phineas Freak. Yeah, remember when he, like, forged some IDs in the first movie? That was like, wow, you're a cool hacker. Now he can literally create... in a bunker underground in London, he can create...
While being sick, apparently?
Yeah. He can create, the most powerful digital poison ever that can destroy the most powerful AI entity ever. Like, he just did it. He just did it. Okay.
And also, at the same time, building a bottle for this genie.
Yeah.
Which is like the one-of-a-kind, biggest thing ever made... You will never have. It didn't even say like it's like 5 billion terabytes.
Yeah, I love that they said it was 5 million gigabytes. But that is such a giveaway that this movie is not. It's not actually tech savvy. They just want to sound techy, because gigabytes, like, we have. First of all, we have terabytes after that.
Yes.
So instead of saying 5 million terabytes, they could have said 5,000, or they could have said 5,000 terabytes instead.
But that doesn't sound
500
as much.
or 50,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But also, there is, after that, we have petabytes.
Yeah.
So they could have just said 50 petabytes, but that doesn't sound as cool as 5 million gigabytes.
I mean, if they wanted to, because it's all fake either way, they could have said 5 million petabytes if they really wanted to.
Yeah, but I guess that was too far?
Too much? But no one knows what that is. I mean, everyone knows what terabytes is by now.
Yeah, everyone knows what gigabytes are. That's the thing.
Definitely.
Because everyone knows what megabytes are, and everyone knows that after that comes gigabytes. Not everyone...
And most people know about terabytes as well.
A lot of people do.
Now.
Yeah, but like, if you're not kind of tech savvy, you've never heard of a petabyte.
No, but you could... Now, petabyte I hadn't even heard of.
Okay.
But terabyte, at least.
Oh, yeah, sure. No.
And they could have even, like, dumbed it down. They could have had petabyte and just go... It's the next one after terabyte.
Yeah.
For Grace or someone who isn't as tech savvy.
Yeah. Oh, but she is, though, because she hacked into the server.
Right. Okay, for Paris then, our French friend who has randomly joined them because she hates Gabriel. We need to talk about that part too.
I just want to reiterate what we talked about, what you mentioned before. I know this is super nitpicky.
Yes.
And we did gloss over a bunch of that when we talked about Bloodlines, how it's no point in nitpicking because that ruins the fun. But here, it's so much. It's more. This movie is dumber than a Final Destination movie.
Yes.
If you count it like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to reiterate that. Like... We said we were going to nitpick. So if you don't care about nitpicks, you won't mind this. But Jesus Christ.
No, but because the issue is that they have so many weird nitpicks that don't make sense. They have so many weird details that just don't need to be there unless you have like a good explanation for it, and they don't give you any explanation for it. First of all, I need to know who the fuck is Gabriel?
Yeah, they never explain that.
They talk about him as a ghost in the past. They mention that he took someone from Ethan in the past.
Yeah, he shot
even show
some
a flashback.
Lady. Yeah.
It's some girlfriend, wife, whatever,
which I thought they were going to explain
Julia.
In this.
Yeah, but they don't. They just show you a little bit more.
Yeah.
And this is how he got
drafted into the IMF.
Yes, because he was framed for the murder of this girl who was apparently his girlfriend or something.
Yeah.
And the choice was prison or join the Mission Impossible Force.
Yeah.
Impossible Mission Force.
Which I think they have... I mean, they've mentioned that before, I think, in some movie.
They've mentioned that he got a choice. He was framed for murder and he got a choice.
But they never explained what the murder was. So
no.
I was really waiting...
And here we only see...
Yeah, I was
murder.
I was waiting for them to tell us, like, oh, was that his sister? Or, was it an old wife? Or... But no, they never do that, so I don't know.
They never mention in any other movie that he had a wife before. The only wife they talk about is Julia.
From the third and fourth movie, yeah.
Who he divorced to save her, to keep her out of the dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And once Grace is introduced, he is obviously head over heels in love with her.
Which I never understood. He just immediately falls in, but it's not even fall in love, because they never like kiss or anything. I think they kind of steer away from that because he doesn't want to be
kissing people on screen.
Yeah, I think there's something like that, because he never becomes romantically entangled with Ilsa either, right? No.
He gets kissed by the white. What's her name? The white.
The white? Oh, you mean the
widow?
Weapons,
the white widow.
The weapons lady.
Yeah. She kisses him once, and it's not like passionate.
But that's just to show
like
that she's devious because she's so villain.
Basically.
Yeah, ooh.
Basically. So
And
there's no romance after Julia, really.
Yeah,
Grace is a little bit of like there's affection, but there's no proper romance.
But I don't understand where that comes from, because immediately he is so invested in making sure she's all right all the time. Immediately in Dead Reckoning. So all the time in this one, and the point where they pick him up out of the water and he's almost dead, and they have him in the hyperbaric chamber, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna stay with you." Why? Why?
Also, explain to me how that works. How is she able to be in there with him?
Yeah, she shouldn't be, or I mean, she could, but it would be extremely painful for the first few hours.
Exactly. She looks very at peace. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's not like she had to dive deep to pick him up.
No, he was right
floating up to the surface,
maybe like a couple of meters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but also like, why are they so like? Oh my God, I'm so like, why? Why are they so emotionally attached to each other? Why?
I don't know.
I mean, it's the same with Benji. They're like, oh my God, I'm gonna hug you, my friend. Why are you so attached to everyone?
Benji's been around longer.
Sure,
I get him a little bit.
But
Grace, he meets her at the airport in Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, and this takes place like 3 months after that.
He looks at her and goes a little starry-eyed for a moment.
Yeah.
And then they're back to it.
Yeah.
That's about it. And then all of a sudden in this movie, he is like, I would never let them hurt you. Ever.
Oh my God.
I promise to protect you forever.
Yeah, why? Why does it matter? I know why.
Also,
she's
trained in these. She's trained in these 2-3 months, so she is now capable of fighting her own fights. For Christ's sake,
yeah,
which she was not in the last movie.
Yeah, I never looked her up, but I always like. No offense to Hayley Atwell, but I always found her like not like off-putting, but extremely like nondescript, very like
average.
Like she didn't have like something going on, like Rebecca Ferguson did, or even Michelle Moynihan as his wife in the earlier movies. Yeah. She was just like, there's something about her. I don't know.
It's the average length brown hair, kind of square jaw, and always wearing like a dress shirt and a jacket.
Yeah,
it's like.
I'm not saying
Rebecca Ferguson dresses up in this fancy dress. You have
she's more of a femme fatale. This is
you have Julia, who's like she's a nurse, and then she gets all gritty and she shoots and she saves Ethan. It's like more empowering somehow.
She just does nothing.
Grace is she's just in the way.
She's like, oh, I'm a thief. So I walk past people and then I have their guns and badges and stuff.
But if they threaten me, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I never connected with her as a character at all.
Nope.
No offense to Hayley Atwell. I know it sounds kind of misogynistic, but just
also,
so
now that
plain
I look at
and boring. But I also find out, because I did recognize her, but I never looked up from what. She's Peggy Carter in the Marvel movies.
Yeah. And I didn't like her as Peggy either, because Peggy's not a likable character to me.
I thought she was okay.
The few times I've seen her.
She was better as Peggy Carter, especially in the first Captain America. But here
she's a little bit sassy in that
she's
one.
She's a charisma vacuum.
Yeah, no, she's so
and that's why that makes me dislike her even more, because they switched her out from Rebecca Ferguson, who was awesome.
And I love Rebecca Ferguson.
Rebecca Ferguson was so cool.
I have a feeling though that it might be a little bit about like not taking the spotlight from Tom Cruise.
Maybe.
I still don't know who Gabriel is in all of this, but Tom Clementif as Clementif?
Yeah,
as Paris is an interesting character who is so unnecessary though.
Yeah, she's some sort of like right hand, goon for Gabriel.
Yeah.
And then because he knows everything, because he is not connected to the AI, but he's in contact
talked to the
with
AI.
He knows everything, so he knows that you will betray me because he spared you. So I'm gonna kill you now. But she hasn't betrayed you yet. It's such.
And she gets pissy from that and goes like, "Yeah, well then I'm gonna kill you, bitch."
But that's the thing. That's what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is bullshit.
Yes.
Like they for some reason wanted her to become part of the gang, but instead
unnecessary though.
Yeah, instead of writing it as her actually betraying him, they write it to him saying, "You will betray me, so now I'm going to kill you before you betray me." But he fails. In trying to kill him or kill her, she does, betray him. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to save herself. Yeah,
there was no indication that she was going to betray him until he manifested it by trying to kill her.
Yes.
Which
is
so
probably
dumb.
the plan he saw, though. But
Yeah, but he don't know.
No, and also,
but he does know. But he doesn't know.
She's a very unnecessary character. She's a cool character.
But yeah,
she's got scars. She's got her choppy hair, and she only speaks French.
And she does a lot of sword thing in the last movie. None of this though, unfortunately.
No, but she's obviously skilled in any kind of combat.
Yeah,
she's really cool, but she does not contribute a lot.
No, she is useful in one scene, basically, in the cabin. I guess a little bit outside the bunker. But
sure, but you could have
just shooting. It could have been the new character
any other
introduced, Degas.
Yeah.
Where it's he's a French guy, but he speaks perfect American English.
No, he's
why give him a French
I don't think he's a
name,
French guy. I think he just has a French last name.
Oh, okay.
Unnecessary again, very unnecessary.
Why introduce all these new characters?
I don't know.
And why bring back fucking the guy from the vault in the first movie? I mean,
dude's name is Tarson, by the way. Greg Tarson Davis.
Nice. Bledsoe or Lolo, whatever he's called. Lowell, whatever. You know what I mean. The guy from the first movie. I know they've done that in the other movies. They're obsessed with bringing back old characters. But that is he was a fucking nobody. He was like an extra in the first movie. Why is he now super important? Oh, and by the way, he was in the first movie, he's just a guy that makes sure that the computer works the way it is. His job is to, every hour...
Donlow, by the way. William Donlow.
Donlow. His job in the first movie, this goes back to the whole thing, everyone's great at everything. His job in the first movie is just go in, check that everything's fine, that nothing has happened, which it won't, but they just have to do that. Because that the heist is going to work.
Just in case.
Yeah. But he's just some guy who enters in he doesn't have to do anything. He's just a guy who points in, is everything fine? And he said, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
However, now it turns out that, oh, no, he actually designed the Black Vault, the most secure vault in all of the world. And he designed, he's a super, super hacker tech guy also.
Yeah.
But he was, he was of course put on this, he became exiled, like they said in the first movie. So he's just been waiting here and now he's, in the end of the movie, he is dismantling a nuclear bomb. Because he knows, because he's a super tech guy, of course he knows how to do it. But he even says, oh no, I don't actually know how to do it, but I guess I'll do it anyway. Almost making fun of the fact that the movie just makes everyone great at everything. But even though he doesn't know how to do it, he does it! And he even manages to figure out how to delay the explosion, not the nuclear explosion, but the starter explosion. So that before they were gonna die in that explosion, but save everyone else from dying in the nuclear explosion. But he figures out oh wait, I can actually, if I do this, give us a 10-second window to run away from the bomb.
10 minutes.
It's what? Wow! So nothing. All these they're nitpicks, of course. It's there to make it more. Oh, what's gonna happen?
Exciting.
And then, but it's not gonna. But the problem is then it becomes everything is at stake. But you're never worried about anything. No. Because everyone knows how to fix everything.
Yeah.
I never.
I had
for
a moment where I thought that they were gonna kill Simon Pegg.
Benji, yeah.
Benji.
He literally dies.
Yeah,
Or he
but then
passes out.
obviously...
But no, he survived. Like, what? Yeah. So, none of the characters die. Yeah, even Ludlow, what was his name? Dunlow. Even Dunlow.
And his wife.
Him, a 60-year-old man, and his like 50, 60-something-year-old wife with short little stubby legs managed to run like
100 meters in 10 seconds.
In 10 seconds. Like, no! What is... Ugh.
And all they were dusty.
Yeah.
It's like, did Degas like pick them up and run with them? Or like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I might see him making it, but not those two people.
That's what they made it sound like as well. Like, one of us will make it at least. But then, hold up.
Or the fact
if
that
all three of us do one thing together, we can save each other.
He just like...
with the power of friendship, basically.
He just like, I'll stay behind with them. I have nothing to do in the server room anyway. Yeah, but you're gonna die then. And if Ethan Hunt stops everything, it'll be fine. So why are you gonna sacrifice yourself for no reason? Well, because 5 minutes later, they do realize that, if we cut 3 wires at once, although 2 people could do that with 4 arms, just saying.
Technically.
He all of a sudden has a purpose. This is like, what the fuck? It's like they wrote in that to make him have a point for being there.
Yeah. Him and Paris are both very, like, deadbeat, we don't need you characters.
Yeah.
Honestly, Grace is kind of a deadbeat, we don't need you character, except for being, I guess, the love interest, though.
But she isn't.
So...
Yeah. Oh, my God. So, like...
Even the fucking fact that they bring back, what's his name?
Oh, Jim...
Kittredge and his little...
Jim Phelps' son.
Yeah.
So
Briggs.
Briggs, yeah, which turns out, played by Shea Wiggum. But his real name is, it says Jim Phelps, but I guess then he's Jim Phelps Jr. He is John Voight's son from the first movie. And first of all,
they've
Ethan
never
Hunt
hinted
just
at,
knows
right?
this. Yeah, they've never hinted at that. I don't think so. Maybe he mentions a kid or something. I don't know. But Ethan Hunt just knows this from looking at him also. Because he knows everything. Like, he knows more than the AI does.
Or maybe the AI told him that when he was talking to it, and it's just one of those throwaway mentions. By the way, the dude that's been hunting you for the last 3 months, I was about to call him Stasiak, because that's what he is in Fast and Furious.
Another Fast and Furious.
He's the same character, by the way.
Yeah, he's just agency guy.
Yeah. Briggs. By the way, he is the son of that dude you killed back in 30 years 10 years ago.
30 years
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Is he in Dead Reckoning? Is he hunting him in Dead Reckoning as well?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Him and Degas are both hunting him down on the train.
Oh, right. That guy's in that as well. Why is he there?
Yeah. Because he's his new partner. He's Briggs' new partner.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So... But then they don't feel any purpose here either. They just brought them back because they had to, I suppose.
Briggs and Kittredge are just another little bump in the road. A third party trying to get to the what was it called? The
entity.
Pomeranian.
Yeah, it made sense in
the Podridge. What was it called?
The Podavka.
The thing he picked from the
but they really want the entity is what they want. They want control of the entity. The Potavka is just the source code for the entity.
MacGuffin.
Yeah. But like I understand. There was a reason for Kittredge being like a kind of second bad guy in Dead Reckoning, because it shows that you have of course the guy who wants to control it because he's like, ha ha ha, I'm a bad guy, Gabriel.
Yeah.
And then you have Ethan Hunt who wants to like stop it because he's the good guy. And then in the middle you have the what represents really the government, which is Kittredge, who wants to, he doesn't want Gabriel to get it because he's the bad guy, but he wants to do exactly what Gabriel does with it, control it. So it's like, but it's to show that nobody actually knows that nobody can handle this but Ethan Hunt. Not the bad guy, not the kind of good guys. Only Ethan Hunt can do the right thing. To bring him back in this, just like, Why?
Honestly, I thought he was supposed to be dead, but I didn't. I don't remember.
All of it just drags out the movie. All these unnecessary appendix characters and nobody needs in this movie.
Because then you throw in all of these admirals and shit.
Yeah,
we have Admiral Neely on the aircraft hangar.
Yeah.
Carrier. We have
he was called Bledsoe or something, right?
Bledsoe, Captain Bledsoe, the submarine dude.
Yeah.
And then we have everyone in the fucking White House or whatever with President Sloan.
Yeah, we have Nick Offerman and the guy from
Holt McCallany,
right, from Mindhunters, and he was in Alien, the rapist in Alien 3. We mentioned before.
Yeah,
when we saw him in.
I think there's a couple more.
Yeah,
and then of course Angela Bassett as President Sloan.
Yeah. Because, once again, bringing back another character, because she was like the head of CIA in Fallout, and now she is the president. Because we have to bring her back, for some reason.
I mean, I don't mind her as a president, but
No, I don't mind it, but what is this incessant need to bring back characters? It didn't have to be her to be the president. Is it?
No.
Do you really think anyone would say, "Whoa, that's the CIA commander from Fallout"? No! Nobody remembers her from 2 movies ago. What's the
Unless
point?
you did like me and rewatched all of them.
Yeah, sure. But it's not...
Which no one did for this.
No, it's not like any of these characters are fan favorite. Nobody talks about how much they love Kittredge. Why bring him back?
I don't know. But like I said also though, when we left the theater, I'll give the writers 1 point, 1+, 1 gold star for actually they probably went through the other movies and made little notes and that's the person we could bring back. That's a little something we mentioned there, so we could make that a thing here. The whole you'll be exiled to Siberia, and now Willem Dafoe is
exiled to
in Siberia.
Yeah, somewhere there. Yeah.
Some frozen island somewhere.
Yeah. Sure.
Sure, they picked up on all the little small details that no one remembered, but once you hear it here, you're like, oh, right, that's a thing.
Yeah, it's literally for a, oh, wow moment. That's it.
Yeah.
They bring back all of these characters and drag this movie out an extra 40 minutes for a, oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Because that was literally how I reacted when I saw Dunlow. Because at first I was like, oh, he's an old guy. And then it was just like, wait a minute. Hey, that's the guy from the first movie.
They also cut in scenes
then they also
from the
tell
old movies
you
to make sure
to make sure that
hey, it is this guy.
So they don't even trust that the audience will remember him. So why even bring him back then?
Yeah, no.
You know what?
I don't know, man.
We're going to wrap it up here soon because we could go on for hours because there's so many more details we could talk about. We haven't even talked about the stunts yet. But
honestly, the stunts weren't that spectacular.
I disagree. But okay. we've been talking, and we kind of have to round it off here because it's getting late. We actually
but I mean we could mention them in the Patreon members episode.
Yeah. Or you know what we'll do? We'll do a part 2 of this. This is our dead reckoning, and then we'll do our final reckoning. We'll see. Whatever. You know why I think they brought back all of these characters specifically for this one? I don't think they've planned it. I don't believe they actually planned it. But they have this.
But
because they've talked about how everything you've done throughout your entire life has led you to this moment. So they're trying to and I think that is something they realize. We have been bringing back characters in other movies. Not a lot of characters, but some character here and there. Other than Ving Rhames, little characters they brought back. Bringing back Kittredge for but they haven't really brought back any smaller characters in the other movies. So here they just pulled out all the stops, brought back every character they could to make it seem like, this was it's almost like predestined. This was going to happen.
Yes.
Especially retconning the fact that the rabbit's foot from the third movie was kind of the core of before the entity was created. That was the core of it, which is
it's a nice little rewrite,
Sure,
without actually changing something.
Yeah, absolutely, because we never find out what it is in that movie anyway.
Yeah, so it's a nice little rewrite, and I applaud that one.
However,
but it gets a bit ridiculous with the rest.
It also gets ridiculous because we don't find out exactly what the rabbit's foot is in the third one, but they hint at it being a biological weapon. Especially since it actually says biohazard on the side.
True.
But I guess it was just a digital thing?
A digital threat? Digital hazard instead?
Yeah. But I guess...
Or is the entity based on something biological?
But then they should have said that. And
I don't fucking know.
Even like, because they reused or showed a little flashback from the third movie.
Yeah.
In clear, plain text, it says biohazard on the side. I was like, is no one going to mention that?
I want to say that there is like a throwaway line that like sometimes things aren't what they look like on the outside.
Oh.
In this movie, that they kind of like disregard that part by going like, yeah, that's what it looked like, but you know what was actually in it? Kind of.
Sure.
Which is...
That is definitely like rewriting, you know.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it, but
that was a little bit stretching it.
I was a little like, is nobody gonna, mention that it says
biohazard
on the side and not tech hazard or whatever you want to call it,
But no one would be afraid of tech hazard back then, so they had to have biohazard.
Sure.
And it is a hazard to the biological world as we know it, I guess.
I guess.
If you want to, like, stretch it really thin. Oh, well. Like you said, there's a bunch of things, and we haven't even talked about the stunts. But I'm honestly,
we haven't talked about the stunts.
Well,
we haven't talked about how there were only two options: either you let the entity destroy the world, or you destroy the entity, and humanity destroys itself.
Yeah.
But of course, they figure out a third.
Neither of those happened.
Oh, okay, fuck it. Let's talk about that, because they do mention that, like, but if you destroy the entity because it has infected
everyone,
all of the internet, all tech, like all infrastructure has been infected at this point at the end of the movie. So if you destroy the entity, you destroy all like tech infrastructure. You destroy the internet. You destroy like electricity. You destroy like lighting. Everything is destroyed. You go back to the fucking Dark Ages,
for Christ's sake.
Kind of like they do in Escape from LA, but that's another movie. But I guess that it's because if you destroy it, so because throughout the movie he keeps saying that he's going to destroy it, but is that just to fool the entity? Because in the end they trap the entity into believing it's safe, and that's why because for a second all lights across the globe go out at the same time.
Yeah. Everything goes dark,
but then
for like a minute.
Yeah, but then it starts up again. So. They're fine.
It's like it rebooted.
Yeah.
Everything rebooted.
So there was only two options, and both ended in the end of humanity. But he chose the third option, which saved him.
Well, I mean, technically, I guess we don't know what happened later, really, because, like, sure, everything got back to normal, but we still had fucking cults roaming around going like... we want the entity to survive, and they don't know that happened. Yeah. They don't know the entity disappeared straight away.
Yeah.
We have anarchy and martial law everywhere.
And that's...
Does everyone just like... is it like, everyone feels the entity leaving the interwebs? And just like... who calls the president?
Yeah, we don't know.
Because...
I want to because it's also there is an underlying theme in this is humanity's ability to like connect beyond technologies, the whole big thing.
Sure.
That's why the threat here is AI, the ultimate technology. And you have that if you want to say that they at least try to insert some sort of theme, it's that, especially, and that I guess that is why there's so much scenes of people talking to each other, because it's people communicating without technology.
Yeah,
but it's the most the most blatant scene is where
Grace?
Sudlow? Fuck! What's his name?
Dunlow.
Dunlow's wife, who can only speak Inuit, whatever their language is.
Yeah.
She manages to explain to Grace how to steer the dog sled. Yeah. To show that like if we just talk to each other, we can figure things out.
Yeah.
And that would have been a great end to this if because the whole thing is that the entity has control over all the nuclear power, nuclear nation, whatever you call it. USA, Russia, China, all those, that have nuclear weapons. And they're going to fire them to like destroy humanity and let the strong ones survive, which is like why. Honestly, doesn't matter because it's it's beyond our thinking. It's AI thinking, so I'm fine with that not being logical from a human standpoint. But
sure,
the other one is like, the other thing is like if we stop the entity from doing that, because it has infected all the nations and creating fake news everywhere. It has created kind of a nuclear standoff between all nuclear powers.
Countries. Powers, yeah.
So if the entity doesn't destroy the world nukes, we will. That's the whole thing. Like that's why both of them end humanity. And at the very moment where the last second that America has control, because they're the last country to have control over the nukes, the president decides to not fire as a preemptive strike to make sure that America is safe. She decides to not because as much as you want to talk about, fighting and we want to have war, we're scared of, like, that is once you press that button, there's no going back. That's why nukes have only
being the one who actively chooses to kill all those people is like
specifically using nuclear power to do it because it is the number one destructive force. So that's the whole thing that Oppenheimer was about, like not realizing what powers you're meddling with. So the fact that she doesn't push the button shows that the entity understands humanity to a certain extent. So wouldn't it have been, she doesn't, and they're like, oh my god, no, Russia's gonna kill us. And then nothing happens. Because the Russians doesn't press the button either. And then China doesn't either. Because deep, deep down within, even though, they're dictators and everything, they know that
people.
once you push that button, that's it.
Like, even bad people aren't that bad.
Yeah, exactly. And that would have been a nice to really hammer home the whole communication message, but that never happens. It would have been when the president answers the call. We don't know it would have been nice to hear like, "So, Madam President, I hear you didn't press the button," something like that. It's good to know you didn't either, Mr. President.
Yeah,
to just show that like sanity prevails, humanity prevails.
Prevails.
But we never got
There is
that.
humanity left in the world.
The only thing we got was Ethan Hunt prevails. Jesus saves.
Yes, He literally he falls from the sky. He is set on fire. And somehow he still survives.
Like not technically, but.
He freezes
dies.
And drowns to death.
Yeah, and he's resurrected twice. First from the ice, and then when he falls out of the sky, because we don't see him pull out the parachute. We know he has one, but we don't see it until he's on the ground.
We see him falling, and then we see, he's on the ground with the parachute. Was obviously pulled. But
he had the reserve chute, which everyone has.
Yeah.
So it's fine, Anyway, yeah. We didn't even go into the stunts, like I said.
No, and we're gonna save that because I think we can, apart from ranking
we
the
can
movies,
rank the
rank stunts.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll save the stunts for the members-only episode.
Yeah, and we're closing in on an hour 20 here, so yeah.
Yeah, and I'm done with this movie, really. Honestly,
Yeah. I'll say this. I thought it was better than Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning was boring. Even though it had a better pacing, And it wasn't as long, although it was only 6 minutes shorter, so who cares?
Yeah.
It was so boring. And because they had shown that the stunt, the movie only had one big stunt, it was the motorcycle stunt, they had shown it 1,000 times. That wasn't even that spectacular. At least here you had the sub scene and you had the plane scene, you know.
Yeah.
So this one was more fun. I'd even say this is definitely better than Fallout. But other than that,
it doesn't rank high though.
No. If you love Mission Impossible, go see it. Fucking
sure, and if you like dumb action with like when you can, like you said, when you can believe in movie magic, go for it.
Do remember though that the first hour is painfully slow. If you're just there for the action, I'm sorry, you're gonna go through an hour of nothing.
The snacks will be gone by that hour because you need to do something.
We managed to keep at least some of our snacks for a very long time this time.
Yeah. But my chocolate disappeared
very fast. You were quicker than me. I was like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's gonna have to be it. So yeah.
Yes.
Any sort of ranking, it's a 2.5 for me. 2.5 out of 5. It's a 5 out of 10. It's mid, which is insane to say about a movie like this, but it's mid.
I'll put mine in the members episode. I haven't decided yet.
So that's gonna have to be it. If you want to hear us rank the movies, including this, and rank the stunts, check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene or become a member on YouTube. And other than that, we'll see you in the next episode, which will be. Do we have one for that?
Maybe.
Was that gonna?
No, actually, we don't.
We didn't have.
No, we do.
Yeah.
It's either Phoenician Scheme or Karate Kid.
I'm guessing the popular one is going to be Karate Kid, and we got to do it for the clicks, I suppose. And I honestly, I want to see it.
See, we want to see both. We don't know which one will be the free episode and which one might be then the members episode.
I'm pretty sure we're going to do Karate Kid for the free episode.
But hey, if you really want to know, check us out next time.
Yeah, exactly. And until then, have a good one. Bye. The Spoiler Cast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It's produced and hosted by Tobias Vedén. Co-host is Rebecca Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén. I also want to give a shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. CK85, Christopher Berlin, Daniel Gaiso, Annika Vedén, Jacob, Mom and Mac, and Laura Kinney.